Some people collect cars, others cards. Whatever niche hobby you might have, there's a market for it. Take for instance, horror-themed collections, which I didn't know existed until I saw my friend's collection. Here, let me show you.
Is anyone home?
It was just a kid.
What the? Hello? What?
Tony, what the fuck? Get out of my house,
No, man,
dude.
I'm just-
This is the second time, bro. Alright, you need to leave, dude.
So today we're going to be talking about video game collections because it's safe and I don't have to leave my house. First off, we're going to find out whether or not you have what it takes in order to become a collector with a little help from Nintendo. You see, they've already made the perfect role model for us to emulate, and his name is Francis. He's from the game Super Paper Mario and the Thousand-Year Door. He's also a connoisseur of the finer things in life like hot babes and anime. In the game, you're trying to impersonate him in order to get into his castle, and since we also want to impersonate him, we should be able to get these questions right. If it's limited edition, buy it. If you're a normal human being, you buy things that you think you'll like. However, in order to become a collector, you're gonna have to get comfortable with rolling the dice and buying games simply because they're labeled as limited. Games can range from The Last Story in Prinny to a game like Bioshock Infinite. This also extends to other media too, so for instance, I bought the French version of the Cruise in 3D because the American version didn't have a limited edition. It was only after I got it that I realized it was French, but it was in a cool metal case, so I couldn't pass it up. Question 2. I've bought games that I've never played before. Not only have I never played any of these PS Vita games, I also don't own a Vita. Before you say anything, I'm not the only one here. A lot more people buy games on PC using the Steam store, and we all fall into the trap of thinking that if I don't buy these games right now, I'd actually be losing money. We buy these games for cheap and then never end up playing them. My first love was an anime girl. Growing up when I was watching American anime like SpongeBob and Teen Titans, one girl stuck out more than anyone else, and that was Roxanne, from the Goofy movie. Now, before you yell at me,
She's supposed to be a little girl.
I was like 8 when I was on the front line of Disney creating fetishes. If you ever really think of where furries and MILF lovers come from, just take a look at Walt's drawings. Role-playing games should be no less than 180 hours long, not counting side quests. If you've ever felt your soul being crushed from the ever-present existential nightmare known as life, then I could see why you would want to escape into another world. Or you just like the game, I guess, I don't know. Not really a good reason if you ask me. So what do you think? Are you set to become a collector? Are you ready to scour the internet for that missing piece to your collection? Or are you a filthy casual? Maybe you're not into video games, but someone else is, like your dad, trying to buy back his 80s childhood before he had you. If that's the case, then he probably has one of these. This is the Ninja Turtles 1-Up cabinet. You got One Too Many Pizzas Mikey, racially ambiguous April O'Neil, and they even have Sexy Donnie? This one is my brother-in-law's, which he bought for $150, and you can buy one just like it for $700. Finding deals is part of the fun in collecting. You buy low and sell high. Arcade cabinets are pretty expensive to start collecting, but there is an alternative called countercades. This one was bought on sale for $180. One thing you'll notice is that it's a bit on the smaller side, so if you're my size, it'll be hard playing with another person. You may have noticed that these aren't classic arcade machines. You can adjust the volume, get infinite lives, and there's no actual place to put in quarters. This is an approach that other companies are implementing, taking older games and repackaging them to be sold now. The websites Limited Run Games and Fangamer both have exclusive collector's editions of extremely popular games. These games either only had a standard edition when launched, or they didn't release with physical copies at all. This is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World Collector's Edition, and it's even numbered. The KO edition sold for $140, and it's currently sold for as low as $400 on eBay, now that they're no longer being produced. Fangamer also does this with a smaller selection of more well-known games. The lack of items can hurt a game's overall price, but its abundance is also a factor. It's no surprise that when you look to sell your gargantuan Halo Reach statue and find it's not worth much, it's due to the fact that there are tons of it just like it floating around the internet. I think we all have at least one giant statue we regret buying. For me, it's the limited edition Guild Wars statue. This is my first MMO, and I played it solo until someone asked me, "Hey, are you in a guild?" This acknowledgement of my existence prompted a swift uninstall to hide into my Sheets combo. Yet another point for crippling social anxiety. Let's take a look at one of the more expensive games I have. This is Persona 4 on the very unpopular PlayStation Vita. It was sold for $70 at launch and is being sold today for the low price of $800. And look, I know what you're probably thinking. What in there could possibly be worth $800? And to be honest, I don't even know. For all I know, this game could have proof that Bigfoot walks among us. But we'll never know. Brand new collectibles aren't for you to experience or interact with. They're there to be admired from afar, kind of like your favorite Twitch streamer or the girls you give money to on OnlyFans to cuck you. They're basically the same thing. Besides, some of this stuff kind of sucks. Like, we got stickers. What? We got a case for the PS Vita that I don't own. And most importantly, the game, which you can buy for $30. There's also a PS2 version, and it came out on Steam last year, so anyone can play it now. So why did I just waste $800 when anyone can play this? If you've ever been in this situation here, you can rest assured that collectors have a way to prevent this. This method comes from the land of the falling birth rate, and is my inspiration for collecting.
I always get 3 cards for the collection.
One to collect, one to play, and the others to let others borrow. Does that mean I bought this single game 3 times? That's right, I bought 3 of the exact same game. It may have sounded stupid at the time, and now it seems like a no-brainer, but we don't know what games in the future will turn from unwanted to rare. So Fire Emblem Three Houses is $220. This is the latest game, and it shouldn't be a surprise to say that every single Fire Emblem game has had very elusive special editions given the game's popularity. The popularity of this series skyrocketed when Awakening came out. It went from a very niche game to everyone knowing about it, whether they wanted to or not.
Who is it? Who is that? Fire... God! Fucking... Really? Damn, I'm so happy that they included a sword character from Fire Emblem. We've been wanting that for so long.
I see. Too many swordsmen, are there?
Because of its popularity, people found out that the series had always been good, and started buying the older games as well. You can buy Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn for $100, and Fire Emblem Path of Radiance for $225. Even though these aren't labeled as limited edition games, they were limited to how many could be made. Keep in mind that this was a game with a couple fans in the West, in a time where gaming was less prevalent on a console that had 1/7 the user base of a PS2. Some people only used it as a DVD player. What can I say? DVDs were new at one point. It isn't only obscure games that cost more later. Very well-known games also have rare versions. Take Chrono Trigger for example. The original was released for the Super Nintendo, but was later ported to the DS. In both America and Japan, the DS versions cost more. So now it's time to start buying American, brother. Buy up all the limited editions you can get. Devil Survivor 2, $120. Mura Mesa Rebirth, $155. Persona 5, $160. X Blade 2, $176. Shin Megami Tensei Shin Megami Tensei 4, $220. Oh wait, that's $200. Wait, these are all Japanese games. So what else qualifies a game to be sold for a profit? First are graded games. It makes sense that these are worth more since they're in pristine condition, but there's been some controversy with graded video games. If you want to learn more about it, you can check out the video in the description because I don't want to get sued. What about manufacturing errors? We got this misspelled Resident Evil Revelations game. It's rare for sure, but what does it cost? About what I bought it for. Maybe a game just has to be popular and rare after all. Well, let me show you some of my favorite things. The Dead Space 2 Collector's Edition has this cool plasma cutter, but the battery exploded and so now it only kind of works. Here, let me show you. Smash for Wii U is $220, and I know I'm outing myself as a Smash player, and some of you might know what that means, but let's just say we can be a little bit weird sometimes.
Smashers, dude.
So I just found 2 games I bought years ago from Japan. They're not worth much, but I did find that this guy bought 15 copies of the worst game in the series, so I thought that was worth sharing. Also on the right is an example of how you can get ripped off with graded games. Just saying. Let's look at the Ys series, which I'm told is how you pronounce it. I have all but the latest game, which went full edgelord, and funny enough, this is something that happened to another series I like, the Tales of series. Tales of Berseria also had a weird midlife crisis, and then it reinvented itself in the next game. I still wanted to find out what happened in the game without playing it, and so I did what any other self-respecting weeb would do. I read the manga. Anyway, while rummaging through boxes, I found some pretty interesting things. So not only did I buy Tales of Exilia, but I also bought Tales of Exilia again and again. I didn't even know I had this many of this game. I also bought this Darkstalkers 2 Collector's Edition, which comes with this cool mask. Which reminds me, if you wanted to take a closer look at my friend's collection, we actually recorded the whole thing, so as a thank you for sticking around this whole time, it's going to be at the end of this video. So thank you a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one if you stick around, I guess. Bye.
So on a serious note, this is my horror collection. I'm a big fan of classic horror. So yeah, I just have a lot of collectibles from like, you know, vintage figures and whatnot, and new figures that were barely made and whatnot. I made this guy, what do you call it? It's a trivia to Jason versus Freddy. That's pretty much what I love to do. I mean, just ignore this stuff. I just added that just because of boredom and whatnot. But yeah, from Chucky to Jason to Tales of the Crypt, from Evil Dead. Oh, this I'm pretty proud of. This is actually from the woods of Georgia. It's from the woods of where Evil Dead was taken. I got the certificate right there. I got the it's not on screen, but it is the chainsaw that was basically the one that they used for the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 245A. You know there? Yeah, pretty proud of that. But yeah, that's pretty much my collection. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.